Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is Out of the Past, a film noir from 1947. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to rent on all the major streaming services. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Justin. I'm one of your hosts for Screen Riot, and alongside me are co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And as John said in the opening, we're taking a look at a film noir from 1947. It's called Out of the Past. It's basically 1 hour 37 minutes. It was directed by a French man known as Jacques Tourneur. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly.
No.
And since this is an old movie, their whole rating system is got rated as approved, so it's not like PG-13 or anything like that. It's approved.
You're approved.
Yes. So if you're watching this if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button so that we can approve the algorithm gods and we can get this video out to more people. So, John, since this was your movie this week, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what Out of the Past is about?
Well, it's about a private eye, former private eye, who has, for whatever reasons, escaped the life of being a private eye in the city to pump gas in a small town. And he
riveting.
basically meets up with an unexpected friend of his who happens to see him in town, and he regales his then girlfriend of all his past discretions and then dies. I mean,
Spoiler alert.
I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Pretty much.
Is that what happened?
pretty much it. I mean, it's like it's like he was pumping gas. He drank some bourbon. He
Some bourbon. Yeah.
he
Caught up
drank
with his
a lot
old
of bourbon.
fling.
Yeah, had
got
this little
into some-
fling and
Some heat moments
and died. That's about
yeah,
it.
He met Spartacus.
cool.
And,
Yeah, he did.
He didn't. Yeah, he met Spartacus along the way.
And
He did meet
Spartacus.
Spartacus. So I have a question for you, John. With your significant other, like, do you normally take like midnight drives and then talk about how you were head over heels in love with somebody else and still kind of had feelings in a weird way, while strangely being on like a date? Is that typically something that you do? Because that was a very odd 45 minutes for me.
I don't. I like to keep my past mysterious. I'm more endearing to her that way.
Well, you see, that is I do that on every date. That's probably why I'm still single.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad.
I love her. Oh.
Her name was Anne, right? The blonde-haired one from the small town.
Yeah.
I don't
Anne.
remember.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for Anne because I was like, she should jump out of this moving car at this point. Like, I can't imagine this douchebag who's sitting there going, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to tell you everything." And she's like, "Oh, okay, cool. So, apparently your name's not what it is. You're going to tell me that you were like a baseball player or, you were a criminal maybe. No, instead, you're going to give me this long, drawn-out ass story about some other girl that not only were you willing to risk it all to be with, but you kind of sound like you like her more than me. Like, you've never taken my ass to Acapulco or San Francisco or anywhere else. What is going on? Why would
he
she
never followed her to Mexico.
You're right. Well, no, he did follow her to Acapulco.
Well, he followed
That's where
her, but
found
he didn't go with her.
He didn't go with her.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, you know what? Never mind. It makes everything okay.
They
Because
weren't
Now, I don't
together.
feel bad for Anne anymore.
Because Anne is a small town girl that doesn't get out often. So
That's true, but
You
she's
know,
got that other guy who's
living with her
completely in
parents.
love with her.
which apparently I don't know how old she was, but I'm like, if she's still living with her parents, I mean, it could be. It's kind of a crap town. There's probably nothing hardly to do, and there's probably hardly any places to live because it's not a booming economy. And
But you're also
and
talking
back
about
then, you're talking about the 1940s. Women did not.
Oh,
go out
they
on
didn't
their
move
own.
out
They-
on their
they-
own.
Yeah, they stayed home until they got married.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Brooklyn?
So.
In all seriousness, though, I didn't understand that aspect of the movie. Like, why? I understand we got to get the story somehow, so we're going to get it through his storytelling. But I thought that was a very odd choice for him to be like, I loved her very much. I risked it all. I was even up against a guy who would easily skin me alive if he caught me. By the way, you're nice. Like, that just seems really weird as a choice.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand why you would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange.
No, Eddie, I'm with you. When that was going on, I was like, this girl doesn't care about all this crap. What do you like?
Yeah.
What a weird thing to be talking about, like your past flings or whatever that you've had, as
Yeah.
you were, like you said, like like seems like they were on a date or whatever. But
He did give her an out though, I think, right? Like he's like, are you sure you want to take this journey with me? And she's like, sure. It's like, what else am I gonna do on a Saturday night?
Well, that's like okay, but that's like Thelma and Louise. Had Louise not understood what the hell Thelma was about to do, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to take that journey with me?" Yes, of course. We're best friends. For 2 hours we've been traveling together. Why would I not want? Oh, fuck a cliff! Like, why would you? I mean, there's no point.
And credits.
There's no point where this girl could possibly think this guy's about to rattle off this, like, I mean, the only thing he didn't get into was the details of their actual sex. Everything else, he's like, we loved each other very much. She left and we had to split up, but I was doing it to protect her. I would do anything to protect her. Fuck me. Like, why don't you just go ahead and just say, you know what? I actually proposed to her 16 times. She never would say yes, but I loved her more than I loved you. Just say it.
Well, and Eddie, you're also glossing over that he was involved in a murder and a cover-up of that murder that he told her.
2 murders.
Well,
not at that point.
Yeah, not at that point. It was just
not
one.
at that point. No.
Yeah.
So and
yeah,
then
at that
she's
point,
still like,
killed. What's his name?
I still love you.
But
yeah,
speaking of the sex scene, because there was, I know you missed it.
The door blowing open. And
they were kissing, and then with the storm going outside, and then the front door just blows open.
Yep.
And then he's fully dressed again.
And then they come back and he shuts the door fully dressed, and she's fully dressed making a drink.
Listen, it's the 1940s, okay? A door blowing open involves both blowing and an opening. So that's the same thing. That's the same as actually.
And it was storming outside, a lot of rain, very wet out there.
Yes, it was very wet.
Yep.
Anyway.
Anyway,
moving on. Hey, notice I didn't choose this movie. This one,
I had never seen this movie, and I've regretted it.
John, I feel that way with every film noir.
So well, John, what's one of the things you regret about this movie? What is it that you didn't like? Besides with the stuff we already talked about.
Okay, well, the dialogue is very fast. It's like they got all their money together and they went, holy shit, film's expensive. I need you guys to talk really, really fast.
Yeah.
And it's just, it goes on and on. I mean, just the whole conversations are just strung along in one. It's like if you like writing in cursive, but connecting all the words together is the way I visually can explain it.
Now, Robert Mitchum in this movie, though, he kind of carries over from his past roles. There's or actually, this started it all. I mean, Robert Mitchum is kind of, he speaks like this all the time. Jesus. Not as quick, but he's always the one that's quick-witted. He's always the one that's like, haha, I'm kind of joking, smirking, whatever. Like in Holiday Affair, he's kind of the same guy. He's like, I don't care what happens, but it is what it is. If you pick me, whatever. If you don't,
it's not even him. It's not even him, really. I mean, it is him. He's part of it, but it's not just him. It's everybody in the film except for Michael Douglas. Except for Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas, yeah.
Kirk Douglas, right? Because you have a scene with 3 people. It's like, would you like some bourbon? Yes, I would like some bourbon. Are you sure you would like some bourbon? Yes, I would like some bourbon. Call the waiter. Okay, the waiter's here. Like, the waiter's here now. Let's order some bourbon. And it's like, there's probably like 15 people in this conversation, but they're all talking in one long sentence.
Yeah, and I equated it to, it seems like everybody in the movie is telepathic. They all know what the next person's about to say because they have a response immediately. Before the sentence is even done in some instances, it's like their mouth is already open, ready to form the next word.
Hello, Marnie.
Well, look who's back.
You dye your hair?
Why?
I always keep thinking of you as a blonde.
For all the thinking you do about me, I could be bald-headed.
I'm on Riot.
I'm like, what the hell? But the weirdest part about it is that everything is done the way you just did, would you like some bourbon? Yes, I'd like some bourbon line. It's all done on this, like they all just took, what's the one that makes you go to sleep? The pill. Melatonin or the other one, the one that was like super, oh my God, really?
Roofies?
Not roofies.
Sleeping pills.
It starts with a V. Valium.
Valium. Oh
It's like
yeah.
they all just said
Prince
Valium.
Prince
They're all
Valium.
speaking- yeah, they're all speaking at this like I could fall asleep any second type tone, and it just really bugged the shit out of me. Kirk Douglas, every time he came on the screen, I was like, oh, thank God. Like somebody who is at least a little bit more modern in their delivery and took a
An
breath.
actor.
Yeah,
I'll be damned.
yeah.
Yeah, Kirk Douglas is very much to me the best part of this movie.
What happens to her?
I won't touch
Yeah.
Because he, like you're saying, everything's just really strung together so quickly. And he actually pauses, like for dramatic pause in between his speech or his dialogue, I should say.
I told you, I don't like to spend your money.
I can stand it.
Well, it's your business. Whit, my friend, there's a million dames in this world, and they all look like her.
No, they don't.
And it kind of gives you time to breathe and kind of like understand what's going on in the scene. Because the one thing that I don't like about this era of movies is how every single line of dialogue has to be either super witty, sarcastic, or super intelligent. And it's like that has to, nothing can it has to be one of those three. It can't be anything else. And sometimes it makes for some really good dialogue stuff, like that one scene where Robert Mitchum is talking to the taxi driver.
Do I go along?
No, you go back to your hotel and wait.
Yes, ma'am. Nice. Awfully cold around the heart. Let's go.
I was like, okay, that's an okay line, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like
I
every single something has to be like that, and it's exhausting, to be honest.
Yeah. It would be
Yeah, and it's
exhausting
not
trying
even-
to come up with all that shit too.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not and see, and I'm not trying, it's gonna sound like I'm bashing Robert Mitchum, but I'm not. I'm really not. I really do like the actor, but I think his strength is when he's stronger when he is surrounded by better actors,
Mm-hmm.
like Michael Douglas.
Kirk
And
Douglas.
it's like damn it, Kirk Douglas. That's the
Yeah,
man's
that's cool.
name.
Yeah.
His name
And I
is
get- and I-
Douglas.
Douglas.
Mr. Douglas.
Spartacus. But yeah, I mean, in that's just my opinion. As I've seen him in multiple films, the better actors that are on camera with him, the better he becomes.
But see, I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, I don't know. I didn't think anything, and nobody in this movie other than Kirk Douglas, and even then, he wasn't that amazing. He was just better than all the other shitheads who were in the movie.
By comparison, he was.
By comparison, yeah, he looks
Yeah.
like a shining star, but it's like, I just don't think any of them did a very good job. But the other thing, going off of what Justin's saying with like during that time, it's also, again, I know I always beat up film noir, but this movie style just seems to go, okay, everything is dark and emotionless. Go. Well, I'm going to tell a joke now. Oh, are you? Yes. It will be funny. Oh, good. Tell me a joke, big guy. You tell me one like you told me one on the beach that, oh, fuck me. Just
You know
fucking
who
kill
else writes
everyone.
like
Everyone in the movie needs to die. I don't care.
you know who else writes like that?
Who?
Wes Anderson.
Yes, he does. But you know what he does? He looks at it through a satirical tone that I appreciate. He
Well,
goes,
that too.
this
But
shit was popular for 50 years. I'm going to make fun of it in a weird way.
well, yeah, and he also adds shits on a color.
Yes, he
picks-
does.
He
Yep,
picks one
Yeah.
and goes
he
with
does. This movie's
Um,
called Brown.
Well, speaking about the lighting,
Starring
one thing-
everybody under the sun.
Yeah, one thing. This is actually the second time I've seen this movie. The first time I saw this was back when I was in film school, and we had to watch this for a lighting class. And I remember thinking back then, this isn't a good. It's not a good depiction of like good lighting in a movie, because a lot of the outdoor scenes, even just the second time watching this, I was like, "What time is it supposed to be?
Mhm.
Is it night? Is it day? Is it, dusk? Everything just, it looks like day for night gone wrong is what it looked
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I had that exact same thought. I'm going, okay, we're outside. I thought it was daylight just a second ago, and then when you go back inside, it's daylight again. I'm like, this doesn't make any lick of sense.
Well,
No,
I think why they add it to film school is just because of the amount of lighting that you would have to do to this scene or a scene in a film noir. Mainly because there was this one scene where they were about to leave the house at the very end when Kirk Douglas is dead, and they're like, let's get the hell out of here.
Mhm.
Robert Mitchum, he's in his trench coat, and Jane Greer, she's in her nun looking suit. I guess she's now a nun.
What she looked like.
What?
That's what she looked
That's
like.
what you look. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's like light coming through the window that's casting a shadow on the floor. There's light coming from the fireplace that's kind of going up. There's light coming from every direction, and it's like, this is how you're supposed to light a scene type thing. I'm
That
sure
was
that's
the-
probably why they're wanting to capture it or something like that.
And that was the only scene that I thought the lighting actually looked good
Yeah,
and or
exactly.
acceptable.
Right,
Every-
and that's what kind of popped out when you're saying that, when Justin was saying that, we had to watch it for lighting techniques, and I'm like, the very end scene when they're at the house, I think
Yeah.
anything shot at that house was well shot, and
It
I
was
think it's
okay,
because,
yeah.
and I think it was because of the actual set or the
Mhm.
location. Everywhere else, it was a forest, it was a lake, it was cliffs, and it was just whatever.
Yeah, the beach scenes in particular, though, in Acapulco, like Justin's talking about, those were extremely hard to watch. I didn't like
Yeah.
the everything looked electrified, and they did that date, what is it, night for day or day for night shooting,
Day for
or whatever.
night, yeah.
Day for night, and it just looked like shit. I
Yeah,
couldn't
those
deal with
outdoor
it.
scenes did not look good at all.
No, the music in this movie is, I will say, pretty, but not interesting at all. Like, there was nothing interesting about the score. It was just pretty.
It's kind of ho hum, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, and again, I know you guys disagree with me, and for everyone who's ever watched this podcast, this is not going to be a new line for me. But for me, most film noirs fall into this category. Like, you just have, it's sort of like, it's just there. It's
Yeah.
they're so focused on it fitting into this fucking genre, being super dark and having the lighting be a certain way, obviously, but the characters act a certain way, the narrator, all that nonsense. I'm like, fuck.
Well, I mean,
You know-
it was kind of a technique in a way that everybody followed on, just
Yeah.
because there are some good film noirs out there, or good films
Mhm.
that were made from the 30s to the 50s that did lighting in a very well, like the lighting actually told a story.
Yes,
It was a character, but yet once everybody was like, oh, that's a good idea, let's do the same thing.
Yeah.
Then you have movies like this. You have movies that are crap, that are film noirs, that just go, hey, I'm a gangster, crime serial, put them up, see, type thing.
that's a very
Yeah,
good Hong Kong accent you have as well.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
If you compare this film to Sunset Boulevard,
Mhm.
night and day.
Right.
I mean, completely different. I mean, you Out of the Past should be thrown in the trash and burned and never ever seen again, compared to Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah,
What was
I kind
Sunset
of agree with
Boulevard?
that. What was that?
That was the one with I'm ready for my close up.
Mr.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was going to
Yeah.
say, honestly, when it comes to film noir, I know we've only had like one that I've seen that I was like, oh, it's not bad. But almost all the rest of them, I just don't have any interest in it. And the fucking trench coat thing, by the way, since you brought up trench coats, I am pissed off about the trench coat wearing in this movie. Okay.
He's a private eye. He's supposed to be trench coat city, like
Fucking
all the
killing
time, no
me.
matter
Yeah.
where he's at.
But not just him. Joe Stephanos or whatever was also wearing one. They're in fucking Mexico, Acapulco, and he's wearing a trench coat. And I'm like, it's 100 degrees outside. What's he wearing a trench coat for? Like, I just couldn't. I could
Not back
put
then,
together.
Eddie. Global warming.
Oh my
Yeah, it was
god.
cold in Mexico.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Shit.
it was cold everywhere, especially if you're a
Freezing.
private eye, because you're like, dealing with cold cases.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
God.
Oh, Waka Waka.
Yeah, John's rubbing off on everybody. Yeah. I don't know. Again, this to me feels like, and the way you explained it, Kyle, is very possible, where it felt to me like somebody wrote a movie that had to fit into a genre, that had to fit into film noir, and they were like, oh, it's going to be super dark, it's going to have the detective story, it's going to do this whole thing, and go. And
and plus, film was expensive.
Yeah.
And especially right after the 40s, like right after World War
Right
II.
after the war, yeah, celluloid. was
It,
expensive.
it's really freaking expensive. And, to constantly make films, it has to be gritty, just because it's old. It probably costs a lot of money
So
to make a film.
we're
like
talking
this.
about a lot of things we didn't like. I will say that there were a couple moments that I did like in the movie. One of those would be when Kirk Douglas randomly shows up at his his hotel in Acapulco when he's packing to leave.
Yeah,
I like
that
the
was pretty
tension
tense. Yeah.
that scene brought.
Well, the last guy in the world.
I hate surprises myself. You want to just shut the door and forget it?
No, come on in.
Because the whole time we know that his girl is supposed to come to get him from his hotel room.
Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy. And I like that the idea they played with that, where we hear the knock on the door and it's a guy
like,
that's
"Oh, shit."
polishing his shoes or whatever he was doing
Right.
for him. That was a scene that I did enjoy, but I mean beyond that, there's not much.
Well, no, and that scene to me, like I'm glad that it didn't go too far. I'm glad there weren't more jumps into it, but at the same time, all I could think was like, man, this would have been a really funny like airplane type scene, where it's just him and he's like sweating, and every knock at like there's more people, and there's just like a kid who's like asking for change, and then there's just some old woman who's at the wrong, it's the wrong door, and like just over and over again.
Then there would be another genre
Mormon
comedy in this.
You're right, Johnny.
But
Depp
it
was
would
the
have
camera
been
goes
better.
out the door. The camera goes out the door. And there's a whole line of people waiting to knock on the door.
Go home, everybody.
Go
outta
away.
here. That would have been. I don't know. For some reason, that crossed my mind too. But I don't know.
Pretty good.
I did like Jane Greer to an extent. I mean, she wasn't
She's
amazing.
a good actress.
Yeah.
I mean, she tried her hardest to be something in this film.
Yeah, I didn't think she was amazing, but at the same time, I mean, she was pretty, and I think the storyline surrounding her was easily the most interesting. Everybody else is like, well, it's a private eye, it's a gambler, and then you've got her, and she's like a femme fatale. The only thing that I wasn't clear on was she sleeping with Joe, Whit, and Jeff? Was she hitting every single guy that was in the movie, or was it just somehow they were all under her spell? That I wasn't clear about.
Yeah, it seemed like her and Joe were the only one with guns. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Which
it's
is
like
weird.
why were they so buddy when Joe is Kirk Douglas's right hand man, right?
right.
Yeah.
So why were they so close?
The only thing I can come up with is sex.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it until you just brought it up now, but yeah, that brings the question of. I understand why her and Jeff were, because they fell in love. Maybe we think, I guess.
Yeah.
Love.
But
They fell into.
So what
Storm
did you
Door.
guys think of Joe though?
I actually kind of like Joe, not as much as Kirk Douglas's character, but I
Yeah.
felt like he was the other one that was not so monotone and kind of boring. He had a little bit of charisma.
All right, what happened to you?
I went to a bar and bought myself a double. I must be slipping.
I guess you must be.
He just stood there, shaking so hard he couldn't even pray. I never saw anyone so afraid to die. I didn't like it.
You killed him?
Certainly.
Sure.
Kind of.
Most of the time, he was just a fly on the wall, just kind of standing,
just kind of
there
sitting there. Yeah.
in the background, just
Yeah,
listening in.
Until he becomes a character, I didn't really even think of him as a character, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like until like you find out, oh, he's actually doing stuff in the background and he's trying to help her frame Jeff and all this stuff. I was like, oh, who's this guy? Oh yeah, he's the fucking security guard or bouncer or whatever the fuck. I didn't whatever Whit was having him be, his do boy.
Right.
And then he has a whole character.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the other part that I did like about this was their little twist that they did where you think that the secretary goes in and kills the lawyer, but then you find Eels. You find out a little bit later that it was actually Joe that did it for her.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
There were so many twists in this film that I don't think the actors knew who actually did it.
Well,
I mean, it really was. I mean, in that, as Justin and I were talking about this earlier, the first hour and 10 minutes go away. The last 34-ish minutes. Okay, I can watch this film.
Yeah.
That was exciting. That kept me interested. However, it was still very long in the tooth.
It was a very long hour and a half at my house, just because it was just like, okay, when are we actually going to get to the conflict here? Like, when are we going to actually get to Jeff and Whit conflict? Like, because we know it's coming to a head, but when? Like, I don't. I think they waited a little bit too long though, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it happens a couple times. It's just subtle or subdued, like because we know that he double crosses Whit, but then Whit basically wants revenge.
And Whit does constantly pop up just in random places, and it's at that point I would be thinking, okay, well, if I'm Jeff, I'm constantly being tailed,
right?
Because that first time that in Mexico, I'd be like, wait, how did you know what hotel room I'm at? Type thing. It's like, oh, I'm being tailed, I'm being followed. So at that point, I would have thought that they would have known that he was with Kathie, unless they did, and they were just like, we're just seeing if you admit it or not. So,
yeah, I mean, it's
I don't
possible.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, the $40,000. I kind of got curious. Like in old movies like this, they're like, hey, she stole $40,000, or I want $50,000 or something. Today's money, it's actually $500,000.
Wow,
like
that's quite a bit.
Big chunk of change, that's that they need.
Anything happened to her?
She ran out on me.
With $40,000.
I want her back.
All the money?
Yeah, it's not
And
bad.
I will say I appreciate that this film took us to more places than a regular noir. Typically, it's within the same town or city or whatnot. This one took us to another country, and then took us from Lake Tahoe area to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And
a green screen or a blue screen to San Francisco.
Yeah.
When he first got there, he walked, in front of the screen, and you had the Golden Gate Bridge behind him.
Mm-hmm.
But that was total blue screen. I was like, oh, okay, I got you.
No worse than his pulling up to the gas station was. I was like, holy shit, this is flat. There's no depth to this whatsoever. Oh, it's blue screen. Yeah, like
yeah,
like what lens are they using exactly? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I've seen more exciting movies. I've probably seen more action in a bathtub, so it's really hard for me to be fair to something like this.
So there was actually 3 people picked for Jeff before
Robert Mitchum.
Robert Mitchum, yeah, sorry.
Joe was one of them, right?
No,
the guy who played Joe.
Humphrey Bogart was number 1.
I bet he was.
That was a number 1 pick. Which thinking about this, I was like, he probably could have done it, but it was too typical for him. I think it probably seemed like any other movie that Humphrey Bogart has been in. The second one was Dick Powell and John Garfield. So both very high end actors in that time. So
well, and my thing is, like, I only have seen a couple movies with Humphrey Bogart in them, but I don't think that the difference between Humphrey Bogart and Robert Mitchum in this movie is that great. Humphrey Bogart is fairly monotone, wears a trench coat, all the same shit. Mm-hmm. To me, most of the leading guys in these movies, you could literally just plug and play them, and I don't think it fucking changes the movie, because they're all speaking like this, like I am a robot who is from. In fact, I can't even do it. I'm adding more intonation to my voice than what they do, and I don't mean to. I'm going to try my best. Yes, I will take bourbon. You will have cigarette. No, I'm smoking. See, it's too much inflection. It's
which
too
that
much.
Was that scene there that you're.
I know it was real.
Yeah, it was real, because he actually Robert Mitchum actually walked on set with a lit cigarette, because they're smoking all the time, on and off set.
His cancer's cool.
Yeah.
Hello, Mark. I'm glad to see you again.
I always wondered if you missed me.
Same guy. Time-proof, weatherproof. Cigarette?
Smoking.
I'm like, oh, that's clever, because he's already smoking, and he didn't even realize that he was, because they're smoking all the time.
It was just an advertisement for Camel.
Lucky Strike.
Yeah, I have a feeling half the budget went to cigarettes.
Right.
No, the other half was trench coats.
Yeah. Trench coats, yes, exactly. Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of budget, I don't have a budget for this film. It's it actually got, instead of a B budget, it actually got an A budget, according to the film studio.
Yeah, which they used to do tiers kind of thing back then. Yeah.
So if you got a B budget, then you're a B movie.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where the term
came from. This is on
Roger
Ebert's great movies list. He gave it 4 stars.
Wow.
Yeah, it's also on one of those AFI's like 1,000 movies you have to see before you die, and it's on countless other lists and all that. So I'm sure there's people out there that love it and that probably disagree with us. In fact, you should let us know about it in the comments.
Yeah, and I enjoy black and white movies. I like film noir movies, but this one was just kind of subpar. It didn't actually bring anything out for me. It didn't bring out the super suspenseful emotions like typical film noirs do. They're very tense a lot of times. There's only 6 people that die in this film.
Only in a film noir.
6 people.
That's the body count, 6.
Can you name them?
I don't
know.
No. Yeah, didn't think so.
So
I mean, I can name 3. What the lawyer, Eels, Kirk Douglas, and the guy
his buddy
at the very beginning.
Fisher.
Yeah,
Fisher. Yeah.
Who were the other 3?
Oh well,
Joe and
Joe.
Ian
yeah, that's right.
Joe
He fell in the
and
river.
died.
So that's
yeah,
4.
and his friend, right? His partner.
Oh yeah, that
Jim.
was Fisher.
Oh, that was Fisher.
Yeah. I was going to say him, Robert Mitchum himself.
Yes.
Yeah, Robert Mitchum and Eels, Whit,
and
Joe,
Kathie.
Who was Kathie?
Jane Greer. She got shot up by a Tommy gun.
And Kathie, yes, and Kathie.
A Tommy gun.
It's still
can't be a film noir without a Tommy gun.
Yeah, they went out Bonnie and Clyde style.
Like, oh my god,
kind
there's
of.
a roadblock.
Bonnie never shot Clyde first.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Kathy turns and shoots.
That
Where did she shoot him?
In the stomach.
In the
stomach?
Yeah.
That's like
I couldn't tell where she actually shot him.
It's a stomach wound. We all know this is the most painful place to get shot. Thanks, Reservoir Dogs. And you're not gonna die. Say the words.
Don't bring up good movies while we're talking about bad movies. Come on.
You gotta bring it up, to kind of heighten the score a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So since we don't have a budget here, we just know that it has a grade A budget.
Yes.
John, this is your movie, so why don't you go ahead and start the grading off?
I did not enjoy this movie.
Okay.
My score is no. I'm kidding.
Okay.
I did not enjoy this movie. The first hour and 10 went on for 2 hours. The next 28 minutes went on for 45 minutes. The last 6 minutes, I kid you not, went on for 30 minutes. I swear, the last 6 minutes, I'm going, okay, how long have I been watching this? Oh, 2 minutes. Son of a bitch. I still got 4 minutes to go. So the hour and 34-minute movie turned into a 3 hour and 15-minute movie without me realizing it. The last 30 minutes did get better for me, but it was a long, tedious journey to get there, and I just wanted off the damn train. I'm going to give this film a 3.
Nice.
Okay, a 3 for John. Yeah, John, you actually just took my score. I was thinking about that same thing. This is a movie that I have no inclination to rewatch again. I've already seen it twice. That's already 1 time's too many, I think. The plot's overly convoluted. Like, I typically don't agree with Eddie with the bad acting in film noir stuff, but this is Eddie. This is your
redemption.
It's your opus. It's what you can use to point at.
And here's the problem, Justin. That you guys keep reminding me there's 1,000+ movies in this fucking genre, and I bet we can find about 800 more that are similar. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So
maybe we will find out when in 800th season of Screen.
When we're in our 70s,
sounds like a prison
sentence.
Yeah,
sounds like a prison sentence to me. But okay, sure, let's do it.
A long time, eternity.
I think Kirk Douglas not really saves the film. I mean, he tries. His back is hurting because he tried to carry this film. I don't really know what too much to say about it. I'm actually gonna go a little bit lower, John. 2.5.
Wow.
Okay, so be it that this is a film noir, I know that everyone thinks I'm going to be more biased than I should be, and you're right. So basically, the movie, I Kirk Douglas, I mean, I think was probably number one on my list of best actors in the movie. Jane Greer was number two, and everybody else, including Deaf Boy, by the way, because I don't know if he was actually deaf, but some of those hand signals, I'm not sure what the hell he was doing. I honestly,
I had subtitles on. It just said incomprehensible.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It looked like he was trying to steal second. It wasn't good. No, I'm serious. Like some of the shit he signed.
No, he was telling Robert Mitchum to steal second.
Yeah,
he was at the lake. You know, he's
not
like,
good.
go for it. Go for it.
Not
he
good.
was hailing a taxi.
Go for it.
That shit wouldn't fly in 2022. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, overall, I just thought the movie was lackluster. I going back off of what John said a couple weeks ago, like I didn't fall completely asleep, but I nodded off a couple times, and I rewound it because I was like, oh shit, I missed something, and then I went, nope, it's still incomprehensible. So for me, this movie is it's better than Devil's Reign, so I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a 1.
Nice.
What did you give Devil's Reign?
Like a
0.7,
I think, or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It was one of his higher low scores.
0.7, yeah.
A 0.7.
I don't know. I think I'd watch Devil's Reign before I'd watch this one again.
I would, yeah.
I would, yeah.
But the difference to me is that this movie actually had something that resembled production value.
Sure.
Devil's Reign
Right.
had fucking paint for blood and stuff. I can't forgive that. I'm sorry.
Well, you had some highs and lows in the 70s. That's all.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah,
Kyle?
for me, I mean, you guys pretty much said everything. The acting was, I was kind of let down by Robert Mitchum's performance in this, and I think since he was the fourth pick in this, it was just like, well, what other guy can we get that's handsome and can talk? Oh, Robert Mitchum, cool.
Can talk.
Come on over. So I'm gonna give this one a 2.8.
Okay, a 2.8 for Kyle.
And that might have been why he just seemed like he didn't care. He's like, I'm the fourth pick.
Well,
Here's a paycheck.
And he didn't really. I was reading through some of the trivia. He didn't really bother to read much of the script. He had to constantly be given some lines to say.
Well, he told
So
Ebert
it's
he
like-
never watched it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
He told
I
Ebert
wouldn't
never.
watch it either.
Ebert was asking him questions about the film. He's like, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, which is
Jesus.
typical for actors and actresses sometimes.
Well, that means that Out of the Past from 1947 gets an average screenwriter score of 2.3.
So, John, real fast, I can go to screenriot.net on my little mobile here and find out what the ratings were. We have actually done it.
Oh, what
5
was that
times.
website again? What was that website again?
Screenriot.net.
Screenriot.net.
On your mobile.
On my
Are you
mobile
British?
phone. But yeah, The Warrior's Way, Devil's Reign, Midnight in the Switchgrass, Bill and Ted Face the Music, and Cool World all scored less.
That's
But
the only.
Cool World, huh?
I do think this makes sense. This is in good company with those movies. So especially this whole genre should be down there, but that's my opinion. Just my opinion,
Well,
Just screaming into the night, midnight.
The Midnight in the Switchgrass. That was a
Yes.
terrible fucking movie. Okay.
Yes, it was. It was.
Anyway, so we need to basically spin the wheel to see what genre the four of us are going to have to pick from this week's movie is what I was trying to say.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
It's gonna be
War.
It's gonna be war.
Perfect timing.
War. Sorry.
What is it good for? That's actually appropriate, I imagine, for this time period in 2022.
Right?
Yep.
So that means that since John was the last one to go last week, that was the finished all the panels. We're all back on the board now, so we have to figure out which one of us is picking a war movie. So John, whenever you're ready, you're good to go.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
It's gonna be
Justin.
Hey. Pew pew pew.
you know what? For some reason, my
You
list
need
has
that
no
sound
more
effect.
wars.
No more
No more
wars.
wars.
Justin is a peaceful man. No more wars for Justin.
How do you not have any war movies? I've got 12 war movies on my list.
I don't
Right.
know. I think I just got tired of updating it. Yeah, so I think for my war movie, I'm going to pick Fury from 2014. It's rated R. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes. It's about a grizzled tank commander makes tough decisions as he and his crew fight their way across Germany in April 1945. It was directed by David Ayer, and it stars Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, and Logan Lerman.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, it's also got
Shia LaBeouf in it.
He's not bad.
It's also got that John guy, the one who was in who played the Punisher and was Shane in The Walking Dead. I can't remember that guy's last name.
Oh yeah, it's
John
also
something.
It's also got Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood, in it.
Yes,
Michael Pena.
Oh, it's got Michael Pena in it.
John Bernthal.
Bernthal.
That you're talking about.
Bernthal.
Bernthal.
I met him in Washington D.C. on a sidewalk briefly. Him and his family.
Wow. That's
cool.
It
was pretty cool. My wife didn't. I was like, "That was Shane from The Walking Dead," and she's like, "No, it wasn't." And I was like, "Bullshit! I will prove this." And I turned around and went back, and it just completely annoyed him and his.
Of course,
family.
you would. And you probably felt terrible too.
Listen, I was cool about it. I was like, "Hey, man, I apologize. Are you Shane from The Walking Dead?" He's like, "Yeah, man. What's up?" I'm like, I just wanted to say it was great. You're great in The Punisher. You're great in pretty much everything I do. I really appreciate it. I was trying to prove a point to my wife. You know how it is. And he was like, "I do, man. I do. Hey, you guys stay safe and enjoy the Capitol. You as well, man. Thanks for watching." And went back to his wife and kids. And I walked on.
Some surfer dude, huh?
No, he's actually
from New York.
I was about to say, I'm surprised it wasn't a New York accent.
He's actually a Marine, but he was wearing Ray-Bans, so I couldn't see what the hell his facial features were doing. Like he just had those Wayfarers on the whole time. I was like, oh, I don't know what your mood is here. So cool, man.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Shane from The Walking Dead, yay.
Oh my God. Stab it.
Thank you, exactly.
Hey, yo, Rick.
So we're watching Fury.
Yeah.
Yes.
So join us next week on Saturday, where we're going to be reviewing Fury from 2014. If you want to know where it's playing, just go to justwatch.com. You can look it up, find it out. If you enjoyed our episode here, make sure you hit the like button below. Let us know what you liked about it. Let us know any comments, whatever. Maybe even post any movies you'd like to see that we add to the wheel or something like that. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you later.
See you.
See you
Later.